Today I'm showing you how to make a delicious, comforting pot of vegetarian chili that is just good for the soul. It's simple, it's warming, it's nourishing, and it makes a beautiful family dinner, but works equally as well for meal prep. Now, many of you know that I like to prioritize protein at most of my meals, but with that being said, I am not fanatic about it. I find anytime I set food rules that are too rigid, they never lead to a good place. So keeping things a little bit more general and flexible, I find has helped me much more than having very strict, rigid rules throughout the years. So I'm very excited to share this with you, but first I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Wildgrain. They are the very first bake from frozen subscription for beautiful sourdough breads, artisanal pastries, and fresh pastas. And they partner with small bakers and pasta makers across the country to keep the tradition of artisanal and nutritional foods alive, which I absolutely adore, and I'm going to share more on them in just a bit. So to get started with this recipe, I like to prep all of my ingredients before I start cooking, because once we get over to the stove, things happen pretty quickly. Okay, so the star of the show is our butternut squash. I love using butternut squash when I'm making a veggie-based chili because it's really warming, it's really hearty, and it pairs really well with the traditional flavors and spices that you use when you're making a chili. Now, I know a lot of people feel intimidated, but working with a butternut squash is actually a lot easier than you may think. So what I like to do is I start by trimming off the bottom and the top, just a little slice from each side of the squash. Then I stand it up and you're just gonna peel the skin off as if you were peeling a potato, exactly the same. So you're just gonna work your way around till you've got that thin layer of skin removed. Then lay it down, separate the bulb from the neck. So I just slice it right here. And then I'm gonna slice each of those in half lengthwise. And then you're gonna see in the bulb, that's where all the seeds are. So you're gonna just scoop them out the same way you would if you were working with any type of winter squash or a pumpkin. You could save them and roast them or just toss them. And then I like to cut the bulb into half moons and then come back and cut them into small bite-sized pieces. About 1-inch cubes is what I usually aim for, but you don't need to be perfect here. And then for the neck, I stand it up, cut it into boards, then I cut it into strips, come back the other way, and into small cubes. Now, keep in mind, if you really didn't want to do this, most grocery stores do sell butternut squash that is already peeled, seeded, and cut into hearty chunks. So you could buy that and then just cut those chunks a little bit smaller if you wanted a shortcut. And last note here, sweet potatoes would also work for this recipe. So if you don't have butternut squash and you prefer to work with sweet potatoes, they would be a fantastic substitute. Just know at the end of the day, whichever you choose, you're gonna need about 4 cups once it's chopped up. Other than that, I'm also gonna chop up 1 onion, 4 cloves of fresh garlic, and then half a jalapeno. Now keep in mind, when you slice your jalapeno in half, it's the seeds and the ribs that hold the majority of the heat and the spice. So if you like a little bit of a kick in your chili, leave those in there and chop it up nice and fine. If you don't, you can scoop those out and then chop your jalapeno, or you can skip the jalapeno altogether. I'm also gonna chop 2 bell peppers. I have 1 red and 1 green. And then finally, I'm just gonna cut up some fresh kale. Now I have a small bunch of kale here that I've washed, and then to stem it, it's very simple. You just hold the stem in one hand, tear the leaf a little bit at the bottom, and then pull the leaf up and away. And then what I like to do is I take a couple leaves, I lay them on top of each other, roll them kind of like a tight little cigar, and then come across the other way to create nice thin ribbons, just like this. And then I'll usually cut them in half one more time, just so they're not too long when you take a bite of your chili. Other than that, everything else you need is pretty much pantry staples, which we will get to once we start cooking over at the stove. So I've got a nice large Dutch oven. I'm gonna turn my heat to a medium heat and add in just about a teaspoon or 2 of olive oil. You just need a little bit. And once that's heated through, I'm gonna toss in those onions, the fresh garlic, the jalapenos, if you're using it, the bell peppers, and then a fat pinch of sea salt. That sea salt is just gonna help to pull the moisture from the veggies, which is gonna help them sweat a bit and help them become nice and tender, because that's what we're looking for. You don't want them to brown. You want those onions to become translucent and to get the raw off of the veggies so they have a nice tender bite to them, but not brown. If you notice your veggies start to brown, just add a splash of water or broth to the pan to cool it down. Okay, so the veggies are looking good here. Once they have arrived, that's how you know you are ready for your butternut squash. So the squash goes into the pot next, along with my spices. I'm using 1 tablespoon of curry powder. I love adding a little bit of curry powder anytime I'm working with butternut squash. It's so good. 2 tablespoons of chili powder, and then a tablespoon of cumin, which is nice and warm without bringing any spice. Give that a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and then I'm just gonna gently toss this all together so that those vegetables have a nice light coating of all of the spices, just like this. Once it looks like this, you're ready for your beans. Now you're gonna wanna use 3 15-ounce cans of beans. Any type of bean you love, prefer, or have on hand work. I like to first drain my beans and then I give them a good rinse under some cold water. This just rinses off any excess sodium and then puts us back in the driver's seat, so you can add as much or as little salt to your chili as you'd like. Now personally, I have opted to go with a black bean, a garbanzo bean, and some pinto beans. But again, this recipe is flexible, so use what you have, use what you love. You could also use 3 of the same type of beans if you'd like. Again, make it work for you. And then I'm gonna toss in a 15-ounce can of diced tomatoes. If you can find them, look for fire roasted tomatoes, because this is gonna add another layer of flavor. It's gonna give it more depth, and it's gonna make it taste like it's like a chili that's been cooking on the stove all day when it's only been a short while. And then last but not least, I've got some low sodium veggie broth here. Okay, and then I'm gonna turn the heat up to high, let everything come to a boil. Once I have the boil, I'm gonna reduce the heat down so that I have a nice light simmer in the pot, cover the pot partially, and then just let this cook for about 15 or 20 minutes. Really, we just want all these flavors to come together, and you just want that squash to become nice and tender. And while that's happening, I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about Wildgrain, because I think you're really gonna love what they have to offer. Now, if you've been following me, you know that I like to keep my recipes very simple. So I've never been one to make like fresh sourdough bread from scratch, but with that being said, I do love a good sourdough bread. And so I love that with Wildgrain, I am able to open my freezer, pull a loaf of sourdough right out of the freezer, and then pop it right into the oven, and 20-25 minutes later, have a fresh baked loaf of sourdough bread without any effort or any mess. What could be better? And unlike most store-bought breads, Wildgrain uses a slow fermentation process and ingredients that you can pronounce. So this makes their breads easy on your belly and naturally rich in nutrients and in antioxidants. I especially love that every box is fully customizable, and they are consistently adding new and seasonal products you can choose from. So you always have something to look forward to when you're building your next box. You can also choose between their classic, gluten-free, vegan, and their brand new protein box. So there truly is something for everybody. Our most recent box was such a delicious box. It came with a variety of different sourdough breads. They're beautiful, light and flaky, classic croissants. They also had these gorgeous and delicious chocolate croissants that our family loved. My daughter was actually home visiting from school, and she loved these croissants. She was obsessed. I will tell you that they can make any day of the week feel like a special occasion. We also received this French butter that came in our box, so rich and delicious and perfect spread over the sourdough bread. And I, of course, cannot fail to mention the homemade chocolate chip cookies. They come just like this, ready to bake. You can make 1 or all 6, depending on how many cookies you want. And I can honestly tell you that this may be the best chocolate chip cookie I have ever eaten in my entire life. And I don't say that lightly. It is gooey, it's warm, it has like the perfect amount of chocolate chips, just so insanely delicious and quite a delightful treat. Having these products in the freezer just makes life so much easier, and it's really great if you have a family. All of the items bake from frozen in 25 minutes or less, and you don't need to thaw a thing. So they are perfect for everyday meals and even for school lunches. And I also want to mention that for every box ordered, Wildgrain will donate 2 meals to a nonprofit of your choice at no extra cost. So not only do you get to enjoy delicious food, but you also get to contribute to a fantastic cause. So if you'd like to give Wildgrain a try, and I highly recommend that you do, I have all of the information for you down in the description box below. So be sure to use my link and my code, which is DannySpees, because that's gonna get you $30 off of your first box, plus free croissants for life. So again, all that information is for you down in the description box below. Okay, so now let's get back to the chili, shall we? I want the squash to be fork tender, and as you can see, it's just perfect. And we know that because the fork slides right into the squash, but the squash also holds its shape, right? You don't want to overcook it where it starts to fall apart. So this looks perfect. Now to finish it, what I like to do is I add in a big handful of fresh chopped cilantro. People either love or hate cilantro. I'm a lover. If you don't like it, you could do parsley. And then we're going to toss that kale right over the top. Now the goal with the kale is for it to just wilt down. I like it to kind of maintain its integrity and not get super mushy. So I just get it in there, I give it a good stir, I shut the heat off, and it's pretty much ready to go. This chili is absolute comfort food at its best. It's warm, it's cozy, and it's just so insanely delicious, truly soul food. And if you have it, it happens to pair really well with some fresh baked sourdough bread. So good. As always, I cannot wait for you all to try this recipe, and I thank you so much for watching. And if you need some more like really warm, delicious, comforting recipes to get you through the colder months, make sure you check this recipe out next because that is another favorite. Cheers!